Hello, 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 and welcome back to another YouTube and Facebook Live with yours truly, Pandara Prem. I'm so excited to have B joining from RDU Sexology. Yes, welcome. And let me introduce you, give you a wonderful introduction. So, B or Beaullah Chanakira, did I say that right? I'm saying it with a Brazilian accent more than
Shakira,
likely.
but that's close.
Chanakira um, holds a bachelor's degree in biology and health promotion, as well as a master's of arts and education, focusing on clinical mental health counseling. Her sexual healing and awakening journey began as she was entering into the free to be yourself decade of 30. She pledged to be free in all areas of her life, which then spawned the journey of exploring the connection between spirituality and sexuality. Because for such a long time, the two have often been separated, which is so true. And so
Mm-hmm.
she was then reintroduced into Tantra, and this time as a way of life and being that was expansive. And it offered the liberation that her soul longed for, and it married sex and spirituality. So she's involved, you evolved into a pleasure activist, sexual liberator, somatic sexualogical body worker who employs pleasure as a way of life and being as it is her birthright. Beautiful. Welcome.
Thank you
So,
for having me, Renee.
yes, pleasure activist. Tell us what that is. What is a pleasure
Oh,
activist?
yes. So that was inspired by Adrienne Marie Brown's book called Pleasure Activism, and
Yes, I read that book. Love the book.
changed my life. Like I read it from time to time. So it really introduced me to the concept of living a life that is pleasure filled. Because a lot of times, with our background as bodies of culture, we are mostly used to trauma bonding and like the wounds that we've experienced and the oppression that we've experienced. But this was like a lens of like, hey, yes, in spite and despite of all the shit that we go through, there's also access to pleasure. There's also access
Hmm.
to things that you can enjoy and pursue your desires. And so that's how I got introduced to pleasure. And when I read that and started to embody that, I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to be a pleasure activist.
Yes, yes. Um, yeah, that was a great book. It was very inspiring. Pleasure Activism by Adrienne Marie Brown. That's
Yes.
correct. Yes.
Hmm.
So now you're also a somatic sexological body worker. Did you do that training?
I just completed the training with ATL Tantra with Amina Peterson. So I'll be getting certified soon.
Awesome,
At the end of this
awesome.
month, actually.
Awesome. Love that. Love that. So, hello, Alexis. Hello, guys. As you're coming on, say hello to us. Let us know that you are here.
Hey,
Have
y'all.
you read the book as you're coming on? Let us know. Have you read Pleasure Activism by
Yeah.
Adrienne Marie Brown? Let us know if you read it. If you read it, how did you like it? How did you enjoy it? And so, B, if I can call you B
Yeah, you
for
can.
short, right? Thank you. And those of you who are on Facebook, hello, Facebook user.
Hi,
Hello.
Facebook.
We cannot see your name unless you have to do something on Facebook. You have to click on something to give your
Oh,
to allow your name to show on this. There should be a link above where you're watching to live if you want to do that, because it would be nice for us to know who's here, or you could just say what your name is as you're writing. So Alexa says she read it and loved it. Currently reading it again. Yes,
yes,
I actually
Alexis.
have it. I have it on
Me
audiobook, and it's
too.
good. Yes, yes. So, we're going to be talking about how to build sexual confidence,
Yes.
but neither one of us was born sexually confident, right? No, it's not too many people are, right? Some people are, not too many women
Right.
are. Some are born that way, but most people have to work towards that. So,
Yes.
tell me, how did you get into this? Like, how did you start working with sexology? How did you say, I want to learn about Tantra? Like, what was the path to get you here?
Okay. I'm going to try to keep a long story short. So in high school, I started watching the white lady, what was her name? Dr. Ruth, I think.
Dr. Ruth, yes.
Yes, on
We're like
Oxygen.
almost in that same age range. Then if we both kind of know Dr. Ruth.
Yes. So I was sneaking around watching her, and it was just a running joke, like, "Oh, I'm gonna be a sex therapist," but I never thought I
Mhm,
would actually be one. But I've always been like in the education field, healthcare, like health education, peer educator type stuff. Fast forward, I got indoctrinated, got socialized, like the purity culture. So I suppressed my sexuality, suppressed arousal. Like I was not connected with myself as a sexual being. I thought it was like bad and sinful. And so I was so disconnected for so long.
mhm.
And then I started to grow up. And so I started to grow up. And then when I turned 30, I was like, man, what is this disconnect between sexuality and spirituality? Like, why is it so bad? If sex
Mhm.
is so bad, like it looks so good and it feels so good, like what is the disconnection? What is going on? And so that's when it all started. I started to read books. Um, some of the books I started with, I was like, nah, I'm not writing these books. It's like reading about white men, white Christian men. I was like, nah, this ain't for me. I need like
Right.
black female read books. So one of the books was Eloquent Rage by Brittany Cooper,
What is
chapter,
it
I think
called
chapter
again?
19.
I'm gonna
Eloquent
just say it for
Rage.
people.
Huh?
Say it again. I
Oh,
just wanted to
Eloquent
say it again.
Rage.
Eloquent
Yeah,
rage.
Eloquent
Oh,
Rage by
got it.
Brittany Cooper. And she
Uh
had a
huh.
chapter in there called Grown Woman Theology. And I read that like 5 times because I was just trying to understand, like, I can have sex and not be married. Um, and so that was like when the seed, so I started to move towards that. So as I was reading the books and reading literature, listening to podcasts, I started to realize, like, oh, we've been lied to. As women, like
Mhm.
we have been lied to, so much misinformation. Sex education did not do us any justice. It did not talk about pleasure. It was mostly like penis centered. Like the penis has always been centered. So a lot of the sex that we've been having or I was having was really disconnected. So I got excited, started asking my friends questions like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And they were saying similar things. And then I started hosting talks in my home with different topics about sex. And I was like, wow, like this is a thing. And
Mhm.
maybe I could be the one. And then eventually that led me to Tantra. So originally, Tantra for me was like this thing that, not Black people did. It was about positions, about like long sex. That's really was like
Mhm.
my
Kama
working language.
Sutra. People heard of.
Yes,
Mhm.
Kama Sutra, all of that. So I was like, I'm curious about it because, it's like this eye gazing, this weird shit that people do. But I'm curious. However, when I really started to study it, I was like more expansive. It was a philosophy, it was a way of life
Mhm.
and a way of being. And it finally married sex and spirituality for me. That was a missing piece for me was the spirituality.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's so beautiful, so beautiful. Because that's one of the things, when listening to you, I was just thinking about just my history and coming into this myself. And I don't think I've ever really shared this. It was interesting because when I was younger, I would always have these parties at my house. And I wouldn't have talked about different subjects on topics of sex, but it would always be about relationships. I would always have tons of people at my house at these parties, and I would always have the guys go on one side, the girls go on one side. The girls ask questions that they wanted to know about dating, about relationships, about men, and the men would write questions that they wanted to know about women or dating,
Yeah.
and then we would answer it, right? And it was just so much fun. But I've always had this curiosity. So, like you said as well, I grew up listening to Dr. Ruth, and I was like, oh my God. And then HBO had that real sex or
Yes. Yes.
real sex. So I would watch that as well. So it
Mm-hmm.
went from Dr. Ruth to Real Sex on HBO. Then there
Yep.
was a couple of other shows. And so this
Mm-hmm.
topic just really always fascinated me. I always wanted to learn more about it. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
so I would explore relationships, sexuality and sex. And because I grew up Catholic, and it was just like
Oh yeah.
all I would hear is the guilt, like this is wrong, you can't do this, you can't
Yep.
do that,
Yep.
and so it was just like it was I had all of this guilt. I didn't I, and
Right.
so I wanted to wait until I got married. And
Right.
so, you know again, didn't know about pleasure. And so
Right.
talking about confidence, there was no confidence
Right.
because no one told me what to do, right? My parents didn't tell me what to do. I watched these things. I really started watching these things to learn and to be able to have more confidence. But still, it was like, these white people on television, this old
Right.
white lady talking. And I was
Right.
like, okay, I felt like I was learning some stuff and this was interesting, but how did it apply to me?
Right.
You know, I didn't look like any of these people. The
Right.
people that I'm around didn't look like any of these people. So it was almost like I had to just kind of go through my process to learn so that I could be confident, so I could be comfortable in my shoes and I could get
Mhm.
out of and so similar to you, Tantra merged that sexuality and spirituality, right? Because again, I grew up Catholic and it was just like when I decided to leave Catholicism because I felt like something was missing.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not anti-religious. To each
Right.
their own. Whoever, there's a lot of great things. I went from Catholicism to baptism to non-denominational,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
to Buddhism. I've read the Bible. I used to go to Bible study. So, so I've studied all of those things, and even just from the Bible there was always things that was helpful. When I studied psychology and I got my master's in psychology,
Mhm.
it was like I would read something in the Bible and I was like, that was helpful. That's the same thing that I'm reading or I'm getting from psychology. So a lot of
Right.
great stuff, but yet there was something missing. And that
Right.
was the piece about the sexuality. And so in the back of my mind, it was always like, if I enjoy this thing, if this is something that I'm wanting to do, how could it be wrong?
Mm.
How could it
Right.
be simple? Why am I feeling all of this guilt? Like that just doesn't feel right, you know? And so I had to also do some searching. I had to see, okay, what is going on? And it wasn't until I left the US in 2009 and started
Oh.
to travel on on this journey. And then I found Tantra various times.
Oh.
And not even knowing. And it was
Mhm.
just like the universe was like putting this in my way, kept putting it, so that I can heal, so that I can learn and I can
Right.
grow. And not only that, but also be able to teach people.
Right.
So greetings. Facebook user says, hi ladies. I'm so glad I could tune in.
Hey,
Um,
y'all.
Still don't know who you are, Facebook reader. Say your name or click so we can see who it is, or you can continue to be anonymous. That's fine. Greetings and hello. Charisma, I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you are well. Welcome back. It seems like it's been forever. So she says Tantra has been calling you. And
Oh, nice.
yes, yes. So
Stephanie.
so
Hey.
good that you could be here. Oh, okay. So the Facebook user is Stephanie. All right. Hello, Stephanie. Oops. Okay. Um, Thank you for sharing who you are so we know who we're talking to. And if you ladies who you're coming on, if you have any questions about building confidence, if there's anything that you're struggling with, go ahead and write it down. I want us to be able to answer your questions. And hey, Shay, hey, hello. So write down your questions. Um, this live, just to let you know, we're going to go on until 6:50 Eastern Standard Time. I can't do the full hour because I have my Tantra certification course that I'm teaching. And
Hey.
that starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Um, so yes. So let us know if you have any questions. I do like this to be interactive. And so
Mhm.
yeah, so you said, B, this was a piece that you found to kind of tie in that spirituality and sexuality, right?
Right.
Now, and this helped you to merge the two, that help. And so so you started studying Tantra and everything. So what was it like for you moving through your shame and guilt? Like what helped you to become more confident?
Whew, it was tough because I did not realize how much shame and guilt. So it took a while for me to really get acclimated with pleasure without feeling guilty, or like pursue pleasure without be like, oh, I'm being a hedonist, like it took a while. It was a matter of mindset. So a lot of the concepts that my teacher Nina was teaching honestly like went over my head for the first couple of times that she taught, because I was just like, what is this? Like,
Mm-hmm.
do what with myself? Like, be intimate with myself? Like, go within and look at my own shit? Like, what is all of this stuff that she's talking about? And so it took really a long time for me to move through and get to know myself and really study Tantra. What really helped me, now I can say that I went through a, oh, you're back.
Yes, I sent you a message. You didn't see it.
Oh, oh,
So go ahead, continue.
oh,
Hmm.
gotcha, gotcha. So, I went through a breakup last year. I was engaged, and then the relationship did not last. So that was like my initiation into all the practices of Tantra that I had learned the year before. Really got personal with me. Like, I really had to develop self intimacy. I had to learn how to love myself. Tantra really was how I was able to move through the breakup. Was how I was able to heal myself through the breakup. I mean, I still
Hmm.
had therapy and I still had coaches, but the self healing really came from connecting my spirituality and my sexuality, because I just had not had the time to merge the two.
Nice. So, and just in connection with what you're saying, how Tantra helped you with that, Charisma said, how can she start getting into Tantra without a partner? And like what you're talking about, you didn't have a partner,
I
right?
did
And so a
not.
lot of times, yeah, a lot of times people think you need to have a partner to
Right.
learn
Mhm.
Tantra. But honestly, in my opinion, I think that is best to get started without a partner. But
Yes.
it's also great to get started with a partner. You
Right.
can't go wrong. But it's also an individual process that you need to go
Yes.
through.
Mhm.
um the lights just flickered off. So like you were talking about, you're having a storm coming. We may as well here. I just saw the lights flicker, so hopefully we don't lose electricity or anything.
I know.
But it is a process that each individual has to go through. So even if you have a partner, the two of you can do it together, but also do your individual work.
Right.
So a lot of times I get people that come to me, I'm saying they want to do a couples workshop with me. And I say, and I do the interview. And then based on
Mhm.
what they're telling me, sometimes I'll say, okay, great, let's do it together. Other times I say,
Right.
let's do it separate. Because sometimes you can do it together and then end up separating. Because there's
Right.
so much stuff that's
Right.
unresolved. And you're trying to do this to get closer and you separate. And I've seen that
Right.
happen, you know
Mhm.
so I interview and ask the questions, because I need to know and make sure that both of you have done your work. You're in a good place to now join together and grow and connect and have more intimacy, more connection. And so that's the thing, like you were saying, that Tantra helps, because we're looking within.
Right.
And
Right.
it is a lifestyle. It's not
Yes.
something you just do.
Right.
You read this book and you're done.
Right.
You take this course and you're done and you're tantric. No, it's a lifestyle day in and day out. It's practices that you're doing every day. It's meditations that you're doing every day. I have a lot of clients that come to me, and I'm teaching tons of things to do, right, in our one-on-one
Mhm.
sessions. And then they go home and they don't do it, and the next week I'm like, okay, how's it coming along? Oh, I didn't do it. And it's cool, because
Right.
everything at your own time,
Mhm.
at your own place, right? And I started off slow too. And I always try to remind them, okay, that's cool, that's good, respecting exactly where you are, remembering that
Mhm.
this is a practice, and to get to the place where you're confident, when you're a sexual goddess and you're feeling great and your juices are flowing and you get wet, and you're able to do all of these things, and you got the Kegel exercises down. But those are all things you got to do every day.
Absolutely. And the great thing about it is you get to pick what practices you like and you enjoy, so that you can actually sustain them. And so I had to
Hmm.
pick things. I didn't have to, but I chose things that I love. I love dancing. So I'm a very
Yes.
sensual being. So I was dancing a lot. I was moving through my emotions through dance, and I would put on a song and just move sensually, or just do what is called ecstatic dancing and just moving randomly. So
Hmm.
yeah, you don't need a partner. Absolutely, you don't need a partner. You can do tantra solo and learn about yourself, like deep intimacy, moving through the shame, feeling the shame and the guilt and moving through that shit. Like I cried a lot last year.
Yes. Listen, me too, going through the process. So listen, guys, because Charisma said I need to come see you and have a session. Listen, everybody, follow on that note. You can hit me up. Let me put this first and then we'll put that. You can hit me up on my website, reneeadolphi.com, or on my IG at Pandara Prem underscore Tantra. Also, B, you can connect with her. We both do sessions. We do different types of things similar. And so you can check out either one of us. She's at rdusexology.com, or
Yep.
her for her website, and her IG is at rdusexology. So hit us up, we're both available. I got all of this information, my IG Pandara Prem underscore Tantra, my Twitter, which I'm not on that often. Facebook is Renee Adolphi. Patreon, also kind of winding down on that. My website, I got two, which is the www.pandaraprem.com or reneeadolphi.com. So you can find me in either of those. But if you're not following RDU Sexology, go ahead and follow her. Go to Instagram soon as we're done and follow her. Okay, so going back, right? Just
Right.
I wanted to get that in as we are saying, I see this. And the Facebook user, I'm not sure if it's Shay or Stephanie, said, love this, or if it's someone else that just came on. Um, so yes, so that's the thing. You don't need a partner. Um, a lot of the tantric rituals and practices is again, like we're saying, done on your own. The Facebook user is following you now,
Thank
RDU. Yes.
you.
And hopefully y'all are following me too on Instagram. I'm sure you are. But awesome, awesome, awesome. So yes, follow her. And if you guys are coming through B and you don't know me, follow me as well. Also, if you are enjoying this so far, go ahead and give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and share this. Share this with someone else, because you're going to help someone else, right? There's a
Yes.
lot of people that have questions you may not even know. So just go
Right.
ahead and share to people. Um, whether you think that they need this or not, just be like, hey, this is going on and this is good. Start sharing it now. Whether you're on Facebook, hit that share it on your feed. If this is on YouTube, copy the link and share it to people. Hit that share button and give it a thumbs up and a like. If you're not following me, go ahead and follow me. Hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you can know when I'm having my lives. I have my lives every Wednesday, and it's always on this topic because my mission
Yes.
is to really release the shame and guilt
Yes.
that
Hmm.
everyone has about sexuality,
And
right?
most people don't
So,
know they have it. That's what I've
mhm,
noticed. Like most people don't even know. They wouldn't call it, because shame is such a heavy word. So they wouldn't even say,
right.
"Oh yes, I have sexual shame and guilt." Like no, but it shows up
Hmm.
differently. So maybe we can talk about there were some of the ways that it may show up, so that they can be like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was shame and guilt."
Right. Go for it. Start it
Oh,
off.
yes. So some of the
That's good.
ways that it may show up, not being able to ask for what you want and need, whether you're with your partner or partners, but you're literally scared to ask for like what you want or need because you're scared that they might leave you. You're scared to explore your sexuality, to masturbate or self pleasure. There's a lot of, you feel guilty for self pleasuring or masturbating, because once again, masturbation has a loaded term. So some of you all can, be like, oh, I don't know, I don't do that. Why would I do that? So you might feel guilty for experiencing pleasure, for feeling good, for putting yourself first, lying about orgasms. Somebody asks you if you orgasm, you lying about it. So those are some of the ways that some of the shame can show up. Just being shy, like not wanting to talk about sex, even with your partner. Like, why wouldn't you want to talk about sex?
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
it's not necessary about like being able to bounce on a dick or do all that, like, that's fine. But it's mostly like an internal sense of guilt and shame that you have around sex and sexuality, and not having access to your own pleasure, not knowing your desires, not knowing what you like, not knowing what feels good, not even looking at your own vagina or vulva or yoni. Like, you don't even know what that looks like. It feels weird to look at it, to touch it on your own. Most of your own pleasure is honestly, you're waiting for somebody else to pleasure you and to make you feel good. So those are some of the ways. I don't know what you've seen, Renee. I'm still starting with people, so You've been in this longer. What have you seen?
Yeah, I was just posting this on Instagram, letting them know I took a picture, posted on Instagram, saying that we're live now to come
Yes.
join us. I tagged you in it, so go ahead and share it on your page as well.
Okay.
If you can do that real quick. So, what you said, I've seen that a lot as well, right? A lot of women who are faking, and I tell them, don't fake the orgasms. But then that when you lack that confidence, they're afraid to say, oh no, that that I didn't feel good with that, I didn't enjoy that, I didn't
Right.
like that, because they're afraid to hurt that person's feeling, or to lose that person, or to lose their partner, you know so I say it's important to, yes, don't fake. And then the other thing is, when you fake, you're also training your body to not enjoy the
Mm,
pleasure, because your body is thinking that it's having a great time, but you're really not. So then over
right.
time, you end up losing that, right? And that's the same thing with men. Men who watch a lot of porn and they masturbate a lot, they're masturbating, and they tend to come pretty quickly, right? A lot of times. And so when they do, they're also training their bodies for premature ejaculation. I have so many men that come as well in their 30s that's dealing with premature ejaculation,
Mm,
right? So it's a real thing, right? What else? So just again, like, just piggybacking, because what you said is all great. Just being able to voice your truth. So I do a lot of things to really work on opening up that throat chakra. We do a lot of role playing, practicing, visualizing,
yes.
how you want to feel, what you want to be,
Yes.
what you need to say, and these are important things. And so a lot of my work, right? A lot of my work that I do is I do a lot of um, tantric meditations with movement and breath work,
Mm,
right? And a lot of dancing.
mhm.
Dancing is also great to build confidence when you're dancing sensually, sexually. The mirror work, you didn't bring that up yet, but when we talked, when I was interviewing you, to getting to know you, you talked about doing mirror work,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes.
And that's so important to also help with the confidence, being
Yes.
able to look at yourself, right?
Mhm.
So, and with the tantra, there's a lot of eye gazing, but doing the eye
Mhm.
gazing with yourself before doing it with your partner. So
Mhm.
looking into your eyes and like saying, I love you. Yes, I love you. You're beautiful. You're amazing. Doing the affirmations. And I like to say, going one step further than just saying the affirmations, but
Mm.
feeling it, you know? And so those are so important. Let's read some comments here real quick. So, being confident all alone, but super shy and hesitant with someone is a form of shame that I experience. Hmm. Yeah. So, can you expand on that, charisma? Like, why do you experience that? Why do you think you experience that? Why do you think you feel more confident alone, but then get super shy and hesitant with someone? And that is very common. That is very, very common, right? Yep, in the head, right? A lot of times we feel so comfortable, but then again, when we're with that person, there's all of these things coming up. Am I gonna mess up? Is this
Yes.
gonna work? Will he leave me? Will he like this? Will he enjoy this? So all of
Mhm.
these thoughts, and that's why this is a daily practice, right? Daily meditations, because the meditations are also going to help you be present, to be here and not in your mind. So many times the mind sabotages us and makes us think things that really is not the case.
Absolutely. So I used to experience that a lot, where I would be thinking about, oh, I gotta write notes, I gotta do this. Am I taking too long? Okay, like why is this happening? Like I would just be in my head. And so one of the practices that Amina taught me was like in the moment, y'all. Like in the moment, you can literally say to your partner, "Hey, can we pause for a minute? Because my
Mhm,
head is everywhere right now. Like I'm thinking
mhm,
about the dishes, I'm thinking about the kids, I'm thinking about this and this and this. So can we just pause and you just help me to get grounded?" And that's why
mhm.
the partner that you're choosing is important because you really want to be able to feel safe to ask for what you want and to be able to get redirection when you're heavy because that happens. I mean, sex is not always going to be
Mhm.
perfect.
Right? It's not always going to be perfect. And that's the thing. People want it to be perfect, right? And
Hmm.
so, yeah, people want it to be perfect. And you watch porn and you see these things on porn and you think it
On
has to look like
TV.
that. And it's not realistic at all.
You
Nothing, it
queef,
doesn't look
you
like
fall
that
off
at
the
all.
bed, like stuff happens.
Exactly. You queef. You have these ugly fuck faces, like, you know, uh,
Right, right.
right. Farting, all kinds of stuff be happening, and it's all good.
It is all good. Laugh it off. Laugh through it. And if
Yes.
it's too
Yes.
triggering, then that's when you can come see me or Renee and we can discuss more about what's going on and ways we can help you to get more grounded before you have sex.
Hmm. Yes. And that's the thing that's important, Ooh, before you have sex. And I'm gonna give everybody a tip too, with getting that grounded,
Mm.
breathing together, you and your partner, getting grounded, getting present, breathe together. Ah. Everybody who's watching, take a deep breath now in through your nose and out through your mouth. Ah. And notice what you feel. Notice what just happened in your body. Does you feel different? Right? And so, even if you and your partner can do that together, before, during, after, that's going to be so helpful. And another thing, taking out the expectations, take out the
Oh,
expectations
yes.
of, needing to ejaculate, needing to come, and
Yes.
have your only goal to be present, to enjoy, to have fun. Make that your
Yes.
only goal.
Oh my gosh. Fun. Laugh. Tickle. Jiggle.
Yes, yes. That's what I like. It's always like I'm like, I love when you could be silly and you can jump up around and throw each other around and all of these things, like having fun with it. You know, we're always so serious in life. Like how often do we get to just have fun and laugh and be silly, you know?
Yes.
And we should be able to do that with ourselves and with our partner, you know.
Yes. Yes. And y'all,
Hmm.
please know that this is a practice. I am still a student of this. And it takes time because we've been conditioned since yay age that sex is supposed to be a certain way. You show up as a certain person, as a woman, you scream like this, you do like that. So really finding your own voice, like how do you want to moan? Like how do you want to scream? Like
Hmm.
what do you want to say? Like what type of dirty talk, nasty talking, or beautiful
Yes.
talking do you want to do? Because you can talk really beautiful, like I deserve this. I'm beautiful.
Hmm.
I'm worthy. You can say that during sex. It ain't always have to be
Yes.
like, fuck me like this. Like, you can, but you can
Yes.
do a little mix, just figuring out what do you really want. What type of sex do you really want to have? Put your partner
Yes.
to the side. We care
Exactly.
about them, but let's really focus on what it is that you truly desire. And a lot of us don't know what the hell we like, and that's fine.
Right.
That's why we're
Right.
here.
Exactly. Exactly. We're here to help you explore. And it was so funny because I didn't realize I loved so many different things. you
Okay.
know, and I started getting into the world of BDSM and kink
Ooh.
and fun stuff. And it kind of happened because I'm a person. So my name Prandara Prim means to go with the flow of love and life, right? I received that name in my tantric initiation in
Ooh.
Brazil. Um, but it's interesting because I have been one to go with the flow, right? I've been open-minded. And so a lot of times things will come up and I'm like, okay, I'll try it. Why not? And so I had a friend who invited me to a playhouse and I went to the playhouse. And um,
Mm.
you better believe, like, this was way before I did any of this stuff. And I wasn't so confident. I was nervous. I was scared. I didn't know what to
Right.
expect. I was like, is it going to be crazy people? But I was like, but I'm going to go.
Right.
And so, I was willing to try that. So I went and I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. I love this. This is exciting. This is nice. Like, it was good. And it was just the fact that I was open and I allowed myself to try something, even though I was scared, even though
Right.
I was worried, right? I allowed it. And so that's one of the key pieces. Try something new. And try it. If you're single, try it with yourself, you know? Try to touch yourself differently. Try to explore different things and see what it feels like. Yes. And then when you're with your partner, having the communication, having the conversation, making sure everybody has a consent and try different things and just have fun exploring. You never know what you're gonna like.
Listen, these fingers can do some wonders, y'all. Your nails can do wonders. You can go
Mhm.
slowly or you can go fast, but really taking your time to even just go really slow. Like you can just do that right now. Touch your arm or touch your neck and just go really slow and notice how that is
Mhm.
versus if you go quickly and see what the difference is. So those are type of the sensations we're talking about you can just do.
Yes. Yes. Awesome. So, oh, I love that. Guys, are you on the line? Are you doing this? Are you doing these movements? Are you doing different movements? Y'all, if y'all come on here, y'all always see me touching my head because I love it. This feels good. All
The erogenous
right.
zones. Find out your erogenous zone.
Yes, because we have so many erogenous zones that we don't know about because we just focus on on the breasts, we focus on the genitals, we focus on the lips and the ears, but there's so much more. And this is also about building your confidence, right? The more that you know, the more that you explore, you start to feel more confident, right? So these
Yes.
are important. And let's see, J Detta Elohim says, listening to you two has helped me identify where my shame and anxiety exist.
Oh,
Yes, that's so good. I'm so happy to hear that. Yay, nice. Um, and Kurizma said, I want to try so many things, but I need a partner for most of them. Okay.
do you
Well,
have
work,
friends,
work.
Charisma? Do you have friends that are like friends that you can try with and play with that will be open to this type of play?
Yeah, I like that. I like that because you can explore if you have different friends. You can try different things. Um, and there's also different sites that you could go on and meet somebody, but you got to be careful. You got to be safe. Don't just go into doing all of these different things, and not be safe. But you can. She says, I don't know if they'd be open to it, but yeah, it doesn't hurt unless you don't know until you ask, right? What did you say? What did you say about the open mouth, fed mouth? What is that saying? I just
Oh,
forgot it.
closed mouth don't get fed.
Exactly. Closed mouth don't get fed. How am I forgetting that? Um, so wouldn't it be weird asking my friends to spank and choke me?
No. Well, so this here's the thing about the friendships. This is what Tantra has also helped me with my friends. So there was a category for friends and there was a category for like romantic partners. But with Tantra, I've just really merged everything. And with pleasure activism, like expansive love. It's like I love everybody equally. There's no hierarchy now. And so when it comes to friends, there are some friends that are going to be open to it, and then there will be some friends who are not going to be open to it, and that's
Mhm.
fine. And then you have some people in between. So you kind of gauge your friends and say, "Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What if we
Mhm.
try this? What if we try that?" And if they say no, cool. If they say maybe, cool. So you don't really stay on stuck on their response, but
Right.
really kind of just inquiring. And if
Right.
everybody says no, well, then we have to call in some new friends. They're gonna be down for that.
But it's also important. You don't want to jump in and be like, "Hey, can you choke me?" No, 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 no,
Oh
no.
yeah, yeah, right,
You
right,
want to
right, right.
introduce it. You want to introduce it slowly, right?
True, true,
Start
true.
talking to your friends. Like I said, it was a friend of mine that introduced me. My friend, and she wasn't like, "Hey, can you beat me and spank me?" She was like, "Hey, I'm going to this." She was like, "Hey, I don't even know how she did it, but she was like, she brought up the playhouse. Are you interested?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, why not?" So and it could even be something like you watched a movie and they had something on there, like, or you read the book 60 Shades of Grey or whatever. You read something, be like, hey, I was reading this and it talked about this. And what do you think about that? And see what your friend says.
True,
You
true,
you
true.
bring up the topics like that, and not, asking them to do it on you, but you bring up and you see what they think. And then you're kind of gauging whether they're like, oh, that's freaky, that's crazy, I would never do nothing like that,
Right, right.
or if they're like, that's kind of
Hmm.
interesting, and they're like, oh, I read this other book and I saw this, or I saw this, and it was it sparked my attention. And then you could be like, oh, well, after that conversation, I wonder where we could try this, or do you think there's, and you're going slowly, and then they're going to be thinking, and then they're like, and then you're like, oh, do you think you're okay? Like, should we try this? 'Cause I have another friend who's a cool friend. I had told him because I had kind of he started saying, that I talk about this,
Right.
and somehow I don't even remember, but somehow I talked to him. Oh, he watched one of my lives about ropes, right, and doing the shibari, and he was like, "Oh, this is so interesting." And so he started watching YouTube and learning how to do it. And so I said to him, I was like, "Oh, I would love for you to tie me up. We're completely friends. Nothing sexual even ever happened."
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I would love for you to tie me up. And he was like, yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. And so it was like that because, he saw one thing and then we started
Mm-hmm.
talking about it. And I'm like, okay, can you do it? So you don't just run and jump into and asking. You work slowly, you work your way to that.
Great tip. Great tip. Great tip. I love
Thank
those.
you.
Step by
Mm,
step, inching on in, isn't on in.
yeah, and you know, man. All right, so J Dada Elohim, my shame and anxiety comes from my desire to please my partner. And if it falls short of my mental image of perfection, I create an
Mm,
anxiety. I'm taking it too serious and I need to release myself from my expectations of perfect sexual encounters.
mm,
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah. So charisma, sorry, I might have missed that. So we'll go back to that. So what Jay Detta was saying, her shame and anxiety comes from desire to please my partner. And if it falls short of my mental image of perfection, I create an anxiety. I'm taking it too serious and I need to release myself from my expectations of perfect sexual encounters.
absolutely.
hmm That's important. I'm a Virgo, right? And if anybody knows about signs, Virgo is someone who's so detail oriented, perfectionist. And so
Oh.
Tantra really helped me with that because I felt like everything had to be perfect. Everything had to be like this, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, Even just like I was a germaphobe. Traveling helped me not be a germaphobe anymore. So that was a good thing. Um, and um, and yeah, so um, really like just doing that work and getting out, and it's mind, it's that mental image, is the mind over matter, right? And that's when we're working the meditations. Yes, the meditations, that the tantric meditations that we teach is going to also help you get out of that anxiety, to be present, to get out of needing to take yourself so seriously or needing to be perfect, right?
Right.
And releasing the expectations. Like I said earlier, it's about having fun and releasing any expectations of orgasm, of coming, of being perfect or looking
Mm-hmm.
a certain way. It's just being in the present moment, right? And let's get charismas. We got 6 minutes. Let's see. I think this is the one. I have always hidden my true self, which is a darker aspect of who I am. It's ironically tied into my sexuality. I surprise myself sometimes. I feel like in my daily life, I'm
Mm.
pretending. Mm,
That's
that,
deep.
that is so deep. You want to comment on that?
Whew. Um, it's so much to even comment on. Like I have so many questions. I would need like a one-on-one session, but I can totally understand hiding parts of yourself because you feel like you'll be judged or not accepted, or that people may, or maybe you haven't accepted those parts of yourself. Honestly, like to start off with, like you haven't probably integrated those parts and seeing how they fit into your sexuality and how you can actually incorporate that into your daily life. Because
Mhm.
if it's something that surprises you, sometimes it is a good surprise. Is it like a pleasant surprise? Is it like a scary surprise? What is it? But living a life for somebody else, shadow work. Yes, yes.
Yes. So the Facebook user, thank you. I don't know if that's Shay or Stephanie or somebody else. Give yourself credit, girl, or guy, whoever wrote this, give yourself credit. So
Shadow
shadow work would
work.
help a lot with that hiding.
Come out. That's what I would say. It takes courage to do shadow work. It takes courage to heal. It takes courage to face those darker aspects because we're not taught how to face those. We're usually taught to
Mhm.
suppress them and hide them, especially as people who identify as women in this
That's
society. You
so
gotta
true.
hide down that shit. You gotta be nice, prim, and proper. and perfect. So when that
Mhm.
shit pops up, you're like, oh no, no, no. So I definitely encourage you to face them, be
Mhm.
friendly
Yes.
with them, name them, write them down, and then bring them to Renee or myself.
Exactly. Get up close and personal. So thank you. Stephanie's talked about doing the shadow work. And that's
Yes.
so important. And this is the thing, working a lot with the feminine energy. One of the things with feminine energy is getting to the point where you embrace and you accept all parts of yourself, right? And that's what makes us integral
Ooh.
when we accept every single part. So, society wants us to be perfect, and we want to be perfect, right? So we're
Mm-hmm.
hiding the different parts of ourselves. We've all done that,
Uh-huh.
and so many of us, we're one way with our colleagues, we're one
Yeah.
way with a certain group of friends, we're another way with another group of friends, we're in this way with our family, we're this way at school. Like, we have all of these different parts, but it's like being able to integrate all of those parts. And I got to the point where I am who I am. Everybody's going to see who I am. And there's some folks who think I'm crazy. There's some folks who don't like it. Some folks who can't handle it. It is what it is. I'm not going to change and be different for different people. That's too much work. But I wasn't always like that. I got to the point where I said, fuck it. And sometimes you're just going to have to say, fuck it. And you're just going to have to be like, okay, and doing the affirmations. I love and accept the bitchy part of me. I love and accept the dominating part of me. I love and accept this part of me. I also love and accept the wonderful, the delightful, the joyful part of me. And you're accepting it, and you knowing that it's there, and saying, okay, how do I work with these different pieces? How do I work with these different parts? Now, this is a side of me. I know how this is. This I know I'm gonna get like this. So in this situation, when I'm with this person, this part of me is more than likely is gonna come out. So
Yeah.
what can I do to not allow that to come out in the wrong way? What do I do? Breathe, whatever it is that I need to do, so I can allow myself to be in the situation in an appropriate way, right? So it's just a matter of knowing, understanding, and knowing how to allow that darker side to come out. I wear this yin and yang, right? Because there is light and dark. And we
Okay.
have within the light, yes, within the light, you have the dark. Within the dark, you have the light. So it's
Yes.
accepting all part of that and
Yes.
allowing it to show, right?
Yes.
Everyone assumes I'm so sweet and innocent, which I am, but they never expect that other side. Girl, yeah, but it's part of you. Why can't I be all of them? You can. The naughty, sexy slut, the mother, the wise, ancient one, the child. Yes.
Yes.
Stephanie, I am now entering that fuck it phase. Take me or leave me. Exactly. Thanks, y'all. Y'all answers are fire and informative. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so got less than a minute to go. Thank you guys for coming on and asking your questions. This was great.
You was.
It's so short, unfortunately. Like, the time just flies by. We
It
really
does.
just need to be a lot longer. But let me share, guys, again, just going back, if you are not following B, go ahead and follow her at let's see
Go
where that
ahead.
is. Let's
Oh,
go
yeah.
ahead and follow her at RDU Sexology on Instagram. RDU Sexology. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and give it a like, share it so people can watch it later, right? And you can come back and watch it again and again if you want, because sometimes you hear things that you didn't hear the first
Right.
time. Follow me as well on Instagram at Pandara_Prim_Tantra. My website is www.pandaraprim.com or reneeadolfi.com. That's also my Facebook and Twitter. So follow us, give us some love, and thank you guys for being here. Thank you, B, for joining. This was so great. We're gonna have to do it again. We are
Right.
gonna do this on Instagram, right? Or did we do it
Right.
on? Yeah, we're gonna do this on Instagram,
Right.
right? Let me see. What's the
Yeah.
date?
I don't know when, but whenever you
Did
get
we
it there.
set a date? We didn't say a date yet,
Get
but
it.
we're going to continue on Instagram. This was great. There's this, I love the flow. There's so much information. So thank everybody again for coming out. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night.
Hi, y'all. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Renee.
You're welcome. Thank you, V.